Hey, what is up YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing well. So this is episode 3 of the Bulenox series, and the point of today's video is to recap on the week, talk about today's trading session, my overall game plan, and then the end of day results. If you haven't already liked the video, make sure you do that. Subscribe to the channel, it takes 5 seconds, and now let's jump into my screen. So first and foremost, the lesson of the day, 2 major lessons actually when it comes to this blown account. The first one is to make sure I actually have my risk settings applied. This is a brand new account, and I didn't even have it applied to my chart. You see there's no daily loss limit, there's no profit target, and I didn't realize it until after the fact, and it's a rookie mistake. It's genuinely a silly mistake that could have been avoided, but I didn't. Now, talking about the trades itself, because that's what led me to losses, like to be able to lose this account, obviously, I was enabling myself to trade during a chop zone. My game plan, the overall game plan for today, for this Bulenox series, as well as for all the other accounts I have, was very clear. I had a very definitive game plan, and all I had to do was wait to see how price action was having momentum or reaction towards certain levels. And then if we have a break of said levels or break in the opposite direction with strength, then I would enter accordingly. But instead of waiting for those breaks, instead of waiting for the clear momentum, I didn't. And I got chopped up right around this area. I believe I can actually show you guys my executions if I'm not mistaken. Yes, I could right here. And it's not something I'm proud of. I was literally spamming a bunch of different trades during this time frame, and it sucked. Hence why I have a 36% win rate, because most of my losers or trades were losers versus winners. And mind you, like a bunch of small paper cuts can add up to a huge wound. And that's what happened, especially with Trade John out too. I was up around like what, $350 give or take, which isn't much, but for a Friday, that's a solid base hit, because I don't personally like to trade on Fridays based on my stats and my data and how I psychologically go into it. And so I should have taken that, but I didn't. And so there's a lot of key lessons in that, but the first one being the whole risk settings, not even applying it. That is different than episode 2, because episode 2, I had removed it. So that was with clear intent to mess myself up. Whereas this time around, I just never put it on. So definitely a silly mistake. And then the second one is more so something that I've kind of struggled with, which is, recognizing price, being able to wait for my plan to actually play out. And so, I definitely should have not been kind of full-on trading during this chop zone, especially when you also notice, which I noticed in hindsight after I blew this account, clear level of support, clear resistance right here, closure of the candle bodies in this entire little range, and we have clear as well. Let me remove this so I can show you. Clear small strength to even push momentum to go higher, right? Regardless of us having this bullish spring off the first and really the second off this 5-minute demand, this 5-minute demand is not even that strong regardless. We have a long wick to the downside, so that indicates that there's a lot more movement to the downside that can happen. And we have the second and third candle bodies showing no strong closure to push higher. This wick is not even taking the previous wick too. So in this case, I really should have just waited for either a strong break above this wick to sweep the highs, with a larger blue candle body, or let us wait for a break lower below this support coming back into like the 6:30 a.m. New York open. So after the count is blown, when it's all said and done, that is when I finally started to recognize, let's play the shorts play, because there's clear momentum, the clear break to the downside, where more of my levels that I want to target is actually at. So, sucks that we have to talk about it. Sucks that this happened yet again this week, but a necessary conversation, necessary breakdown, and a necessary lesson. So, that's that. Let's go into my other accounts really quick. This account I am more good news about, more excited about. I had a flip day here, as you can tell, $22 flip. I was scared to use a micro NASDAQ versus mini because I didn't want to go changing instruments for another reason to possibly be denied. I did some research. People said on the flip days you should be fine to do a micro flip versus a mini flip, but just for my peace of mind and sanity, I did a mini flip. So I didn't care that I lost only a $22 trade. Totally fine, especially because the balance I have was a lot higher than I was actually expecting. So I have one more flip day, and then after that I will be able to request a payout and then go from there. So every Wednesdays is when Bulenox processes the payouts, and it could take anywhere between 3 to 7 business days for the payout to be like actually sent out or like in your account. So good news on this account, proud of it. Honestly, can't go wrong with being able to lock in a payout. Like that definitely is a nice way to kind of lift the mood, lift the spirit going into the weekend. For my other accounts, basic idea, got some base hits today, nothing special, nothing crazy. So it's Friday, like I said, I don't like to personally trade Fridays like I used to, especially based on my data and my account performance before. I just don't trade that well anymore. So I know it's a huge psychological barrier as well that kind of inhibits me performing poorly. Gotta work on that, but until then, I'll respect the data and not trade so much or as often on Fridays. So that's all of my accounts. That's the end of day and also end of week results of everything. Lost a few accounts this past week, which is really, really crappy, and having to start over is never fun. But I've accepted, again, like I said in episode 1, I've accepted that this is part of the game. It's part of me being able to get at least another account to pay out versus not. So I'll take what I can get, and let's move on. Now, before I get into my overall game plan of today and what I was truly searching for, I do want to talk about a frequently asked question that a few of you have posted in to the comment section on both the videos and then my YouTube posts, but it's about the payout requirements, the consistency rules, and how often can you withdraw. So I did respond back to all of the comments, and then I have given the link not only to this one but to previous posts asking about it too. But let me go and break it down in this video for those watching. So for Bulenox, there is a consistency rule in the master funded account. The master funded is the sim funded, which is the one I'm in. It is 40% consistency rule. So you take your total profits on your master funded account, you multiply that by 40%, and whatever number that is the max amount you should make per day, or that you cannot surpass per day. So if you have $4,000 total profit in your 50K account specifically, 40% of $4,000 is $1,600. So in this example, you shouldn't make more than $1,600 in one day. And if you do, then you just continue to trade until you bring down that consistency percent. And that's it. The next piece is how often can you withdraw. So this leads into the requirements of your payout request. And should you meet all the requirements, then you can pretty much submit a payout request anytime. Just know that Bulenox only processes the payouts on Wednesday, and then it takes about 3 to 7 business days for the money to come to your account. So the requirements to take a payout is going to be the 10 active trading days. Then you have to meet the safety threshold, which is dependent on your account size. In my example, it'll be a 50K. So the safety threshold on a 50K is a minimum total profit of $2,600. Once you meet that second requirement, the third requirement is depending on how much you want to withdraw from your account, that will determine how much more you need to make. So the safety threshold of the 50K of $2,600, it will always stay in the account. Later in the future, you'll be able to withdraw it depending upon like your agreement. However, until that comes, the $2,600 stays in your account. Then you have to make an extra $1,000 minimum to take the minimum payout right here for the first 1 to 3 payments. And then if you want the max payout of your account size, then you'll look at this here to see what your max account is. In my case, $1,500 is the max I could take on a 50K. So instead of just making $2,600 plus $1,000, now I'd add an extra $500, and that should equal $4,100 minimum profit on your account in order to be able to pretty much fulfill the last 2 requirements, the safety threshold and then the minimum payout, or if you want to make more. So you have to have all those requirements finished. Then you can submit a payout request at any time of the month, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it doesn't matter. But just know that Bulenox will only process the payout on Wednesday. Every Wednesday they process payouts, and then it takes 3 to 7 business days for the money to actually come out to you. So that is how the whole payout system works, and hopefully I answered all those follow-up questions that people may have about it. But yeah, that is a frequently asked questions that I've been seeing across the board. Now let's talk about what I was seeing on the charts for today, what I was really looking for, and then honestly, had I just been more patient, had better discipline with my execution, I could have definitely had a better killing. But you take what you can get, both wins and lessons, and you move on. So for the higher time frame, I talked earlier this week about a head and shoulders, how the if and then case for both bulls and bears, depending on how we reacted, would apply. So in this case, we had the bullish case where we had the retest of the demand that I wanted. We continue to close higher low, and push further up. So now the next bullish target is this daily supply as well as this 4-hour imbalance. Now, when you also look at the way and where we've been rejecting, I would also want to see for today, specifically intraday, a bit of a bearish move lower. And the reason for that is because for the higher time frame, we had continuous rejection as well as candle closure at previous resistance before, around the same area. So if we are having this over this band of 2 days or so, then I would anticipate that we would continue to have a little bit more resistance. With the news, of course, we can have a huge spike, but for today, I was just looking for some more shorts than longs. The next thing as well, if I go into the lower time frame, is we had this data candle that we touched on earlier. So this 415, a liquidity low and then liquidity high. Of course, all my sessions are marked. And then finally, we have an imbalance to the downside that I wanted to go ahead and retest as well. So that's all the way over here. So then now, as we are starting to finally close below the 15-minute orb, it's clear to me with strength that we want to move lower. So I started participating in shorts as I move into the 1 minute time frame. We have that break below the 15-minute orb. We target this Asia high, and now I want to see, okay, how are we going to react here? Are we going to have a nice push to retest the orb, or can we have continuation lower to break below the 12 a.m. London Open? And then finally, I want to really target this portion here at 150, then 140 for liquidity sweep, then finally Asia low, and then 50% of the imbalance. Preferably, I'd rather go for the imbalance versus Asia low, because when price moves to a liquidity area, it doesn't just stop at that price. It doesn't just stop directly on 180.5. It's going to run a bit more, especially if we have strong momentum. So on the 1 minute frame, we started to have that around the Asia high. We had clear continuation down lower. So for me, that shows that more bears are wanting to step in. So I participate in the shorts, taking scalps along the way, definitely targeting around this 150 and then also the 140, taking it on other accounts outside of Bulenox as well, and being able to lock in a payout for tonight, taking the short further down lower to target Asia low as my next TP, and then secondly, imbalance at 171. So that is truly what I should have done for all of my accounts, just be more patient and not get caught in the chop. But I got caught in the chop, and I did not have enough self-discipline to stop that. So a lot of wins and a lot of learnings for this week, but I would say overall I am majority proud of the performance, just given that I was able to adjust accordingly. I was able to maintain most of my accounts, and I'm able to submit multiple payouts between tonight and the next week. But that's everything I wanted to talk about for today. So hopefully everything made sense. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, leave it down below and I'll make sure to get to you. But I really do appreciate you guys for stopping in, for engaging with me, for supporting my journey. And hopefully things continue to be smooth and continue to do better and be better. I am going to probably take some more medicine in just a moment and go take a nap. Appreciate you guys for stopping in, your time and your support. As always, I wish you nothing but the best and the most success in all that you do. And I will see you all in the next video.